Get started. We are right at the top of the hour at noon, and welcome everyone to the introduction to for a virtual forest bathing. This will be recorded, and you will get the recording later. My name is Kelly Kunkel, and I'm an extension educator in health and nutrition with the University of Minnesota Extension, based out of the Mankato Regional Office. And I've been hosting this series of family-friendly earth care webinars through family development. And this is the second during this time frame. And the next one will be on friendly bugs that we want. So be thinking about attending that as well. And as we're waiting, just be sure to put where you're from and what's your favorite plant, bird, or tree into the chat. It's so fun to listen to, see all of that. Just a note about closed captions. If you want or need closed captions, you'll find the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom window. And depending on your device, you may have to hover over the bottom of the screen. And if you do not see the closed caption button, try looking for the button with the 3 dots and it says more. And then once you find that, you can click on toggle it on or toggle it off. If you'd like a certificate, or if you would like well-being points, and this 200 well-being points are offered per webinar for employees and spouses covered by the university's medical insurance. You will be getting a link at the end of our time today to an evaluation. And so be sure to fill out that evaluation and state that you want to have those well-being points. And a special note of thanks to Rose Pagashnik, and she's our support staff from St. Cloud, and she is our webinar producer today. And so we're lucky to have her today. She will be there to help you with any technology issues that you might have regarding this webinar, and she'll be helping to monitor the chat box and provide links in the chat. So as we go along today, if you have any questions, please be sure to put them in the chat. We'll take those questions at the end of the webinar, at the end of our time together. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our presenter today. Kristen Mastel is a certified forest therapy guide and outreach and instruction librarian at the University of Minnesota. As she always says, I am your extension librarian, and we always appreciate her. And so she is going to lead us through the discussion on virtual forest bathing. So Kristen, I'm turning it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Rose, for the invitation today to kind of share my love of nature and forest bathing with you all. You can go to the next slide. I often like to broaden it out. While you might have heard the words forest bathing or Shinrin-yoku, that's the Japanese term for it. But it is really about just deepening your connection with nature. So if you aren't in kind of a nature environment like I am today, you can participate from indoors. So if you're lucky enough to be by a window, I highly encourage that, or even bringing a house plant next to you, we can participate that way today. Otherwise, Rose or Kelly will put in 2 websites. I'll put it on the screen in a moment too. There's a website called window-swap.com that I love, and another one called tree.fm. So you can look out at nature and you can kind of hear nature if you happen to be kind of stuck in an office like a cubicle land environment. But the whole idea of forest bathing or deepening our connection with nature, of course, is kind of rooted with helping us increase our well-being and wellness and lowering our stress. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So I'm just kind of curious where folks are at today. If you feel comfortable, you can just throw in the chat from 1 to 10, 1 being like, oh, it's a rough day, 10 being like, it's awesome. Hasn't started snowing here in the Twin Cities yet. I might rank it lower after shoveling a lot over the next few days. But where are folks at? I'm just kind of curious if you feel comfortable sharing. All right, we got a lot of middle of the road numbers. Oh yeah, or if you do know webinars, you can even go to annotate and kind of put a little dot or check on the line too. Sometimes chat is a little easier. Okay. Yeah, all over. We got folks from kind of 2, 3 to a 9. So thank you so much for being willing to share with the rest of the group. So with that, we'll go to the next slide. So I'm just gonna, again, for the next couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, give a little background on forest bathing, and then we're gonna jump into the actual a little mini practice. Today, I kind of view it as a little sampler, okay? So this isn't like a true forest bathing experience, like if you were to join me in person or even virtual when I do a whole hour to, usually my forest bathing sessions are 2 to 3 hours in person. So these will be like little sound bites kind of forest bathing. And I should mention, if you're just joining me, I'm Kristen Mastel, Extensions librarian, also forest bathing guide, and I'm joining you from Jensen Lake, which is a part of the Lebanon Hills Regional Park System. So you might see some folks walk on by. So a little bit about forest bathing, if we could go to the next slide. It really started back in the 1980s, and that was developed by the country of Japan. While the connection with nature has been ongoing for a long time, since the beginning of time, really, humans and nature have been interconnected. In the 80s, Japan was seeing their workforce getting more and more frenzied, more stressed out, more exhausted, a lot more health issues. And they're like, well, what can we do to help the well-being of our staff? So the Ministry of Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Health, they kind of looked at, okay, we kind of know that nature has some benefits, whether you're getting outside and say those 10,000 steps, though that total study has kind of been debunked, but the idea of getting out and moving is always good. But they actually have done a bunch of studies over the past, basically 40 years showing that just sitting and being and experiencing nature is really beneficial to one's health. So we can go to the next slide, hopefully. And I might have, it looks blank on my screen. But,
So Kristen, our next slide is a video. So I'll start the
oh,
video.
yeah, you can start that video. Sorry, I swapped them up.
Being an executive woman is not easy. In 2003,
Oh, sorry, we might have to skip an ad, so bear with us for a moment, y'all. Thank you so much, Kelly. And we can go to the next slide. That was a lovely video produced by Nitin Das. far better at that technology than I could, on just kind of explaining some of the health and wellness benefits that the studies in Japan and other countries, including here in the US, have shown that forest bathing provides. From, you saw, boosting your immunity by breathing in kind of the phytocides that trees, and the negative ions given off by, well, more moving water. I'm kind of by a lake at the moment. To lowering the cortisol for your stress, and kind of everything in between. So there's some great studies on that. And really the big difference between like forest bathing and maybe what you've done, you might be an avid camper or hiker or love getting outdoors, is really this is about being intentional with our attention and really slowing down, and observing nature and then observing ourselves. So we're not trying to get exercise. I'm not going to try to get a lot of steps. So you'll notice I'm wearing a lot of layers because I'm really not going to be moving today. So I always encourage folks, wear an extra layer or two than you're used to when we're doing forest bathing, because you might get a little chilly. So next slide, and safety is always my first priority. So again, here are some of those health benefits. I need to do a shout out to our own Dr. Olson over in public health, did a systematic review looking at a bunch of studies and kind of wrote things up. So if you want to see a U of M study around forest bathing, and they're going to have another research study coming out shortly as well. So here's again a few of the benefits of just sitting, observing, giving your attention with attention to nature. We can go to the next slide, please. So, pardon me. The next bit of time is going to be actually practicing some invitations or activities. And I call them invitations because they truly are that. They're invitations to participate in whatever way makes sense for you. So I will give you maybe some prompts or some guidance, but maybe nature, or your window, wherever you are, presents with something else that's piquing your curiosity, or you're not just feeling the activity or invitation that I offer. You're welcome to just kind of observe nature in whatever way makes sense to you. So next slide, hopefully I have. Okay, Rose and or Kelly, if you could put in, I thought I had a slide, but I apologize. There's two websites that might be helpful if you're stuck in front of a computer. If you are lucky enough and you brought your phone out with you, you can just kind of plug it away in your pocket. But if you are in an office setting, you can go to window-swap.com. And you can also open up tree.fm. So windowswap.com, there's a link you can donate, but you don't have to. Basically, there's pre-recorded videos of people around the whole world of what's out their window. So you might get rural setting or more urban setting, and you can always kind of skip and choose somewhere else. You might have somewhere snowy, you might have somewhere beachside. So that's kind of a fun little tool I like to use when I'm doing virtual forest bathing in an office environment, okay? Or again, you can bring a house plant up close to you as well, or look out a window, and then Tree FM just to get some nature sounds if you're interested. So we're going to do a series of different invitations. These are going to be slightly different than what I would do in person. They're going to be a little bit more guided, since again, this is a little sampler, and they're a lot shorter. So we'll probably only do 5 to 10 minutes for each one. And then I'll kind of call us back with maybe a little crow sound. I didn't bring my chimes with today. Sorry about that, but I'll kind of lead us through, especially this first prompt might be a little bit more, it's called The Pleasures of Presence, kind of a very sensory experience. And so I might encourage you to find maybe a comfy spot, whether you're standing or you're seated. I might encourage you to maybe turn towards, if it's sunny, or the window, if you have one. Oh, and I'm going to switch my view here so you don't have to look at me. You can see the surroundings a little bit more, hopefully. There we go. So the pleasures of presence, once you find kind of a good spot, I might just lead us through a quick little box breath here. If you're familiar with meditation at all, the box breath is kind of an inhale for a count of 4, a hold for a count of 4, an exhale for a count of 4, and a hold for a count of 4. And I have a spin on this, and it's kind of I learned from a mentor, Ian Banning, that is the seasonal breath. So on your next inhale, you might think about growth and renewal, 2, 3, 4. Hold in summer. We want a nice long Minnesota summer and sunshine, 3, 4. And exhale and think of autumn and falling leaves, 2, 3, 4. And then hold as we need to rest and rejuvenate in winter, 3, 4. So just follow your breath, and you might think about growing through the cycle through spring and pausing and enjoying and lingering and soaking in the sun for growth in summer. And then exhale what we need to let go of in autumn, and then rest and renewal in winter, storing up all that energy to have some new growth here in spring. So our first forest bathing invitation will be the pleasures of presence. So I'm going to invite you to work through each of your senses. And so for our first sense, I might encourage you to kind of just look around and see what you can see. You might look up towards the sky or even the ceiling, or down towards the ground, whether that's snow or carpet. And to the left and right, or if you're in a swivel chair, maybe even turn all the way around. You probably don't spend much time looking behind you either. And just kind of notice what your eye is drawn to. And then we can move on to maybe our sense of touch. And maybe think of it like a little scavenger hunt, whether you're outside or inside. And you might just notice the texture. If you're outside, you might be brave and take off your mittens or gloves and just notice different textures here. You might notice if it's soft or hard, maybe prickly, sharp. Just kind of noticing your surroundings. And then let's tune into our sense of hearing for a moment. You might even, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Maybe listen for the furthest sounds you can hear from you, whether you're indoors or outdoors, but what's in the distance? And I might encourage you to maybe bring your attention in a little bit closer, not as close as your immediate bubble or your immediate surroundings, but what's in that middle space there? Might be natural, might be man-made. No judgments, just noticing what sounds are in your soundscape. What makes up your special spot that you are today? And then let's bring it in one step closer to your immediate surroundings. What can you hear maybe right around you? You might even listen for your own breath, or maybe even take in a little bit deeper breath than you're used to. And just notice the rhythm and the sound of your breath amongst the soundscape of everything else. And our next sense, I know we're at lunchtime, so you might have some aromas that you can catch on the air. And our sense of taste and smell are connected. So you might have pick up some aromas from lunch or coffee or tea break. Or if you're outside, you might be able to pick some up on the cool, crisp air here in Minnesota. When I work with families, I love to have folks think also of, animals to get a better sense of smell. Sometimes they tip their nose up in the air a little bit, or they might tip their nose down towards the ground and follow a scent that way. And maybe you can notice a difference between the two. And our sense of taste again and smell are connected, but maybe you can pick up some flavors lingering in your mouth still. I might encourage you to just take a couple breaths in and out through your mouth. Maybe you can even catch a sensation on your tongue between your inhale and your exhale. Whether it's a flavor or a temperature difference. If it were later today, I might encourage us to catch a snowflake on our tongue if we're outside. If you're in Minnesota, or you might do that even later, just be a kid again and just see what that sensation is like. So that briefly was a very abbreviated pleasures of presence. A quick way to do this, maybe when I need a little office break, is kind of thinking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste for like a little mini office break. So after each invitation, I always offer, especially in person, if anyone would like to share something that they noticed. So my prompt to you is just, I noticed. And if anyone would like to share, you're welcome to post it in the chat, something that you noticed from just paying attention to your senses. Or if anyone's brave and you want to come off mute, you certainly could do that as well. Folks are noticing a lot of bird activity. Oh, sounds of our dog's breathing as he sleeps. Yeah, just taking some time, noticing your own breath. Oh, it's snowing heavily. Can't see across the lake. Yeah, thank you all for sharing. Feel free to keep sharing. And I realize if you're outside like me with mittens, it's always optional because you might not want to take your hands out. It is certainly hard for me to type. That's why I'm thankful for Rose and Kelly being my technical help here. Feeling calm and relaxed. Great. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And those were just a few of what everyone has mentioned, because I can't see everyone in the chat. I just see a few as they pop up on my little cell phone screen. So you're welcome to keep posting in your little reflections here. And I think we'll move on in the interest of time to our next invitation, and that's what's in motion. So I might encourage you to maybe walk around slowly and silently, and just notice maybe when you're going a little slower than you're used to, what's in motion around you, or what do you notice? So this is what's in motion. I'm in a good spot here with my tripod, so sometimes I will actually move my camera, but I'm not going to today. So you're again welcome to use that window-swap.com, or look out your window, or actually this is a great time to get up and stretch for a moment. And we'll come back together at 12:33. That'll be about 5 minutes here. So if you want to stand up, come back around at 12:33, and we'll have a brief sharing then. All right. Hopefully you all enjoyed a little stretch and a little slow movement option there. What's in motion? So sometimes I bring folks back together with a little crow sound. So I'll do a little caw, caw, caw. You certainly won't confuse me with a real one, but that's a little signal to kind of come back together as a group. So if you feel inclined again, I would invite you to just kind of say maybe something that you noticed or something that struck you. And you're welcome to pop that into chat. If you want to come off mute, that's okay too. Birds and water dripping off icicles. Frozen water pattern on your grill. Ticking of clocks. Yeah, lots of different birds outside. I was noticing a lot of down sticks. It was so windy yesterday. So I'm noticing kind of the remnants of that movement that are scattered around the trail here. All right. You're welcome to keep putting your reflections of what you noticed in the chat. Crunching of the snow, and big crack of a tree. Nice. Thank you all. Great observation. All right, so we'll go to the next slide, please. And of course, since I'm doing this for extension and family development, I thought let's have a family invitation here. Since we are nature is a part of us. We are not necessarily separate from nature. I also didn't do a land acknowledgement at the beginning, so just a brief thanks of gratitude for the Dakota people who have been the keepers of this land for eons, and then now the space that I'm in here for the Lebanon Hills workers and staff that keep this trail so lovely for me and everyone that contributes to it. So this invitation is to just notice your neighborhood, the space, the place that you are working or living, that you're residing in right now. That they are your family. And you might notice different family groups around you. But I'm going to give us just a few minutes here, just till 12:40, to just kind of notice your neighbors. So we'll come back together at 12:40. All right. And as we come back together, the prompt for this one, if you feel like sharing, is my family is. So if you have any reflections on your family, my family is waving to me. I'm noticing the wind is picked up and the oak leaves are kind of waving hello to me, along with this some burrs next to me and some grasses. All right. So you're welcome to keep putting reflections in if you're inclined. And I think, Kelly, we're going to move forward, I think 1 or 2 slides. Yeah. So I do like to end with be with a being, but on the interest of time for you all, I'll just mention the sit spot or choco is kind of central to forest bathing practices and something you can do anywhere, anytime. So I might encourage you to find, maybe you already have a spot and you didn't even realize it, but a little favorite spot that's close to home or work because it's easy to get to, that you might just sit for a couple minutes. Could be every day, every week, and just kind of notice nature's changing seasons all around you, how it just shifts every so often. And there you might even choose to do be with a being. Be with a being is just to give all of your attention. Use kind of the 5 senses that we started with. You might not use all of them, but to really just focus and give your attention to a being. It could be a houseplant. Someone mentioned they were noticing their dog. It could even just be spending time with a pet or a plant, but just really giving your attention and seeing what you observed. Does your being have a name? How might you greet that being? That could be something that you do after today. So with that, I'm just going to wrap up. I think there's another slide or 2, Kelly, of how you can add nature every day. And the next slide, I have a few ideas here, from sitting at a sit spot to starting a nature journal to, paying attention to the clouds and taking a few more green space breaks. And then we can go to the next slide. Just so you all know, if you're in the Twin Cities, we do have a registered forest bathing trail created by one of my colleagues, David Motzenberger, at Silverwood Park in St. Anthony. So I highly suggest you do that. You can do these forest bathing invitations at your own pace by reading the little plaques on a trail. And then the next slide. Otherwise, if you need some more inspiration, I have a little workbook on my website, KristenMastel.com. Otherwise, I'll just wrap up and say thank you for joining us. You're welcome to put a final reflection in the chat. And this was just a little mini invitation to forest bathing to help you kind of slow down and connect a little bit more intentionally with nature today. And I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to kind of share well-being points and wrap up on what's to come from the rest of the series.
Great. Thank you so much, Kristen. I feel so relaxed right now, and it's so nice to be able to see what you see out in nature.
Thank you.
So many thanks to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or put questions in the chat. And as you do so, I'm going to just go through some technical things. If you would please fill out the evaluation, and Rose is putting that into the chat right now. So if you can fill out that evaluation, it really gives us some ideas on how things are going for programming, what types of things you'd like to see in the future. And it's also very important if you're interested in getting those well-being points that we talked about if you're a University of Minnesota employee. There'll be a follow-up evaluation to be sent to you about 30 days after the end of this series, so after the Family Earth Care series, and you'll learn how we've been using the information and resources, and to provide a playlist of all the recordings if you've missed any. We have quite a few upcoming webinars, 8 different series, 38 different webinars, and a variety of different topics. So please, all of them are free and available to anyone. Even if you can't make that time, register, because then you'll get the recording later on. And so here's some info, the QR code for that. And this will send to you again as a follow-up email. Please engage with us on Facebook, on Twitter, and LinkedIn, YouTube, what have you. And so we would really welcome you to join us in the Center for Family Development. And that is our end. Are there any questions, any comments? Oh, is there anything you need to do to get the well-being points? Yes, you'll need to fill out the evaluation form, and there will be a prompt or question on there about, do you want well-being points? And please respond yes. Let's see.
Otherwise, thank you, everyone. And maybe I'll see you on an in-person forest bathing walk later this spring, through summer, through fall. I offer them around the Twin Cities or virtual as well. So feel free to holler if you would like one for your department or group, or I'll see you on the trails.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Bye. Stay warm and safe.
Yes. Fairmont is not that far away from me.